Hey everyone, welcome to Find Your Flow. I am Natalie and today we are going to be grounding down in order to rise up and lift off. A beautiful balancing practice. Don't worry, don't panic, keep the mind nice and calm, and I'll meet you on the mat. Okay, so for this practice I recommend using your at-home bricks, whatever you have to hand, dictionaries, cookbooks. 2 would be great if possible, just to help bridge the gap between the earth and your hands. And also for one part there is an option to stand 1 foot onto your prop, so make sure it is sturdy enough to withhold the weight of a human. We don't want anybody falling off and hurting themselves. So whenever you're ready, jumping in to a comfortable seat on the ground. As always, taking what you need to lift under the hips to find a little extra support. Taking the hands and just resting them wherever they feel most comfortable and closing the eyes right away. Taking some time here to arrive on our mats, let go of everything else that's happened and just settle into this moment. Remind ourselves that we are here right now in this present moment. So just come to feel the breath coming and going in through the nose, out through the nose. Just notice how fast or deep, how loud the breath is, and accept it exactly as it is. And as we sit here, without opening the eyes and looking at something to see how we look, can we start to lengthen through the spine, lift a little taller, find a lovely long neck, and find more space between the shoulders and the earlobes, and feeling how this feels rather than looking how it looks. And this is something that we are going to explore a little more in our practice today. That's called proprioception. So it's the ability to sense the orientation of your body and your environment, which sounds really complicated, but basically it just allows us to move quickly and freely without having to consciously think about where we are in space. So it's the feedback loop essentially within the nervous system, and it tells the brain what position you're in and what forces are acting upon your body at any given time. It's super amazing, clever system that basically helps us to do everything. So we're exploring this a little bit deeper as we come to find our balance. Exciting. Just keep breathing here, keep being aware of the breath. And this is really important for any form of balancing. So if the brain is a little scattered, we might be rushing into something and trying to jump into something that we're maybe not ready for in terms of a balancing posture, or even just in everyday life when we shift our weight slightly and we can come off balance. And helping to find this cool, calm and collected mind with the help of our breath can have a really profound effect on the rest of our body and helping us to stay balanced and sturdy. So lots and lots to think about. Also, just take a moment to recognize how your balance can fluctuate so much from one day to the other. And if it's happening one day and not the other day, then that is cool, that's fine. Just go with it. Lovely. Bringing the left hand to the heart and the right hand to the stomach. Everyone joining here for 3 more breaths. if you're ready, release the arms, gently flutter the eyes open, and come to bring the right leg in front of the left. Now, keeping the bottom and the hips really grounding down to the earth as we walk the fingertips onto our mat, and then just walk the fingertips a little bit further forwards and just go as far as feels comfortable for you today. Maybe you come down to the forearms, maybe you don't, and then reaching the hands over to the right side of your mat, getting a bit of a twist in here, as well as waking up the side body, so breathe deep, and then float all the way over to the left. Nice, and coming back to center, bringing the left leg in front this time, and you'll feel that one leg normally feels a little bit funny, a bit different to the other, and that's cool. Just roll with it and breathe. Bring the fingertips to the ground, walking them forwards. And then over to the right. Get this nice twist in. Just waking up the center as we float over to the left. Nice, jumping all the way back. And coming to take the left leg out long, hugging the right leg up and in. Lifting the left toes towards the face as we hug the left arm around the right leg. Right fingertips float to the earth, finding a juicy twist. So mindful of keeping this length through our spine, with every inhale reaching a little taller, and with every exhale maybe we find a little bit more of a rotation through the thoracic spine here in our rib cage. But just listen to where you are. We're easing into our practice. On your exhale, float all the way back to center. Keep the right leg lifted as we cross it over the top of the left thigh. I'm coming to bring the left hand, the fingers in between the toes. So this is often a very different movement for lots of people, not very used to it. And when you do it for the first time, it surely does create some different emotions in your mind. Different words come to mind when you do this. But however it feels, just try not to notice it as good or bad, simply as a sensation. And breathe here. We're sending some love to our feet. And if each of our fingers at the same time is too much, just do 2 at a time. Breathing in and breathing out. Just wiggle the toes. And then take hold of the right foot in the right hand. If we need to take a strap, we can do. If you'd rather hold on to the ankle or calf space, then do so. And just kind of explore this hip, opening it from left to right, a little bit back, a little bit forwards. Maybe we lengthen the right leg here. Always just being mindful of the spinal area, keeping this length. Nice, and then coming back to send the right leg long as we hug the left leg in, finding our twist on the other side, keeping the right toes active. Right arm hugs around, left hand reaches back, lifting nice and tall, and then twisting. If the shoulders are creeping up near the ears, can we be aware of this? Finding one more breath before floating back to center and taking hold of the left leg, bringing it onto the right leg. Bringing the fingers in between the toes. Ooh, yeah, feels good. Breathe in here, maybe we wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers slightly, just get some movement, some freeing up of the space in the feet. We always shove them into shoes that are quite ill-fitting, so giving the feet a chance to breathe and love us. Nice, one more breath. And then releasing, wiggling it out and taking hold of the left leg, wherever feels most comfortable, and just finding this movement that feels good really. So hip from side to side, left to right, up, down, lengthening the leg. Taking one more breath. Before releasing, bringing both feet to the ground, lifting your hips now off your support. Bringing both feet to the ground as we plant the palms behind us. Hands, fingertips can be facing anywhere. And as we bring the feet to the ground, we're just going to lift all of the toes, so just the toes. And then just try and place the toes back down on the mat one by one. And this is far more difficult than you might instantly think. And then just do it again, or as well as we can do. And one more time. But every time we come down, we're spreading through the feet. So keep the feet and the toes spreading as we plant down. And then lifting the heart, lifting our gaze. We'll find extension through the spine, taking a breath in. And as we breathe out, rolling the chin towards the chest, rounding. Nice. Inhaling to open. Exhaling to release. And once more, really exaggerate this. Lift the heart nice and high. And float the spine back down to the ground. And then jump in all the way back up to our neutral spine. We'll send the legs out long. And shuffle a little bit further forward if you want to on your mat. We are going to connect to our deep abdominal muscles, rolling down to the ground. Something that's really important to help us stay stable in our balance is this connection to our deep abs. So starting to find it here. We'll reach our fingertips forwards. Chin curls towards the chest, nice and slowly. Imagine each of our vertebrae, one by one, are coming down onto the mat. Nice. Stay breathing here, reaching all the way back. And then curling the chin to the chest, lifting the upper back, mid-back, lower back off. Use your hands to support you if you need to. Coming to fold forwards, Paschimottanasana, bending the knees as much as we like to. Lifting the toes up. And this isn't really about this really big deep stretch here. We're just easing into the backs of the legs, sending a little bit of mindful length. And then curling all the way back down. Nice and slowly. Really find this control with this connection. And whenever you're ready, curling back up and folding forwards. Again, taking it easy. One more time, coming all the way back. Hovering halfway down. And then coming down to the ground. And lifting up. Hovering halfway up. Smiling and lifting all the way up and folding forwards. Lovely. Taking a breath in. And a breath out. And then scooting the legs to one side, making your way to a tabletop, all fours. Wrists beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips, and spreading through the fingers just like we did in the feet and the toes. Rolling the tailbone down, curling through the spine, we'll find cat pose, dropping the gaze. And then floating the tummy down to the ground, lifting our tailbone, lifting our gaze, cow pose. Just 2 more times, rolling here, forwards and back. We're not underestimating the importance of this spinal fluidity and mobility that we're finding here. Really, really, really important, not just for the health of our actual physical body and the back body, the front body, all of that space, but also connecting to the brain health and our nervous system. So floating back to center whenever you have finished and sending the right leg back onto the earth. Toes stay on the ground. Lifting our left hand forward. Just make sure that we have a nice wide stance in the leg. So if our right hand and left knee are on this tightrope, taking them a lot wider so we can find that stability. And breathing in and breathing out. And then just explore reaching the toes of the right leg off the ground and sending away actively through the heel to help engage all of these muscles in the right leg. Again, all keeping us nice and stable. We're also waking up our core center again, so take a lovely breath in and breath out. We can stay here if we would like to, or option to bend the left elbow back and bend the right knee forwards. Nice. Keeping it lovely and lifted and then reaching back out. Doing this 2 more times. Slowly connecting to your center. And one last time, lifting away. Everybody meeting on the ground, tucking the toes under, walking the hands back and just shaking out the wrists. Giving a nice breath in and breath out, and just sit on the toes for a moment, sending a lot more love and space. And if they're talking to you, that's okay, just listen. We'll find one more breath here before floating back. Tabletop, sending the left leg behind us, keeping the toes on the earth first as we find this sturdy foundation, reaching the right arm forwards. Taking a breath in and a breath out, and then I invite you to explore lifting the left leg off, and this might be a great place for you to stay today, and if it is, awesome work here. There's so much stuff going on in the body, so if we don't want to add on, we don't need to. But if we want to, bend the right elbow and the left knee towards the center and then reach away. Twice more. Keep breathing. Lovely. Reaching away, one last breath and then releasing. Just taking one cat pose, curling the tailbone down, lifting the spine. And one cow pose, lifting through and releasing. Tucking the toes under as we sit back onto the heels, reaching the arms out in front. Finding length through our spine and then rooting down to rise up, hips, tailbone float high, downward facing dog. If pedaling the heels feels good here, then find this movement. Everyone keeping the knees with a soft or very generous bend in them to find this length through the spine. Taking a breath in and a breath out. Stepping the feet forwards, coming into a fold at the front of our mat. The feet are hips distance apart here, or a little bit wider if that feels good. And just allow the head, neck and shoulders to be really heavy as we sway from side to side. Try not to eat your t-shirt like I'm doing. Nice. On your next inhale, come back to center, lift up halfway, finding a flat back. Exhale to fold, rooting down to roll up to standing, reaching the arms high and keeping them there as we soften the shoulders from beneath the ears, finding an upward salute, but keeping this grounding in the feet. Toes track forwards, knees nice and softly bend over the toes. And imagine our upper body's like a palm tree as it sways from side to side. Next time we come to the right, stay there for a breath longer. And then coming over to the left, again stay there, just feel into the side body, into the ribs, and then float all the way back to center. Hands come together and down at the heart as we send our sitting bones behind us. Imagine we're coming into that imaginary chair. Keeping the toes on the earth, just feeling the weight spread evenly through the feet. And then taking our way over to our left leg, keeping the knees nice and bent. As we start to float the right leg off the ground, we're just shifting the weight, noticing what life feels like on one leg. Coming back to center, shifting over to the right and lifting the left leg off. It's not a big lift here, just coming one more time side to side. Nice, coming all the way back, folding forwards, taking a breath in and a breath out. And this is where we could use the help of our bricks. So taking them onto whatever setting, whatever height you want, you can have them flat down to the ground or maybe a little higher. And just taking our way over to our left leg like we did in our chair pose, but this time sending the right leg back, keeping our spine nice and long, almost like we're in a one-legged forward fold. And maybe if we have space, we can release down slightly like we do in our forward fold, bringing the crown of our head down towards the ground. And keeping this nice micro bend in the left leg and feeling the feet connect to the ground in the left foot. Nice, one more breath here. And then releasing, right leg down, left leg floats back. But don't rush into this, really feel the connection first and then reach away. It's not about how high we get the leg, so keep the hips and the pelvis nice and level. And just notice the shift in the weight and how we can stay calm with our breath as we balance. Lovely, then softening all the way back down into our fold. Planting the palms and stepping both feet back, coming into a high plank. And if you know high plank isn't good for you, come straight down onto the knees into a low plank. We're keeping our shoulders forwards over our wrists. Really spreading through the fingers, pressing away from the earth. And if the knees are lifted, sending away through the heels, nice and actively. Finding one more breath here. Connect to the center. And either keeping the knees lifted or sending them down. As we float the elbows behind us, weight comes forward, lower to the earth. Taking the feet nice and wide, hands by our rib cage as we inhale. And then exhale, lifting the heart forwards. Baby cobra, send the shoulders away from the ears, nice. Coming all the way down. And lifting back off on your exhale. Lowering once more. Nice, and then staying here. Lifting the hands away from the earth. So we're sending a lot of love to our front. We've also got to send the love to our back, even it out. Help to support one another. Maybe the hands stay hovering, perhaps we reach them behind us. Feel this sensation of this extension as the heart comes forward, head and neck, and extension of the spine, finding one more breath here. Before releasing, planting the palms and pressing lightly all the way up and back, sitting in a child's pose. And just wiggle the hips from side to side if you want a more active child's pose. Sometimes this is really nice, it can release anything in the lower back. And then whenever you're ready, jumping up nice and slowly. Coming into our all fours and then sending one leg back and the other, lifting the knees into our plank pose. Now we can be down on the ground, wherever we are, rocking our weight into our left hand. Turning onto the outer edge of the left leg, inside of the right leg, and bringing our hand to our hip. If we're on our knees, we'll look like this. We can also explore a side plank with the right leg bent over and the right foot on the earth. This is just like a nice little kickstand to find some support. So choose your version of side plank today. And wherever you are, keeping the hips nice and lifted. We're finding this connection to the balance, but also to our center, strengthening the legs, the entire body, in fact, in our plank pose. So take a lovely inhale. And exhale. Maybe we reach the right hand towards the sky. Find one more breath wherever you are. Before floating the right hand down and hopping onto the other side. Choosing your plank here, either on the knees, on your kickstand. Where does your attention go here? And we find 2 more nice, long, calm breaths. Lovely. Floating back to center. Everybody lifting their hips high. Meeting in a downward facing dog. Taking a breath in. And out. Walk, stepping or hopping the feet forwards into a fold. Inhaling to lift up halfway. Finding your flat back. Exhaling to release. Bringing the fingertips to the earth as we step the right leg back. Nice and wide on a diagonal. And slowly bending the back knee, rising into a high lunge. Just keeping everything nice and soft. Hands can stay on the hips here or reach to the sky. Finding one breath. And then releasing the right hand, bringing it down perhaps onto our brick or to the earth as the left hand floats the ribs over to the left and then reaches for the sky. Coming into a nice twist. Reaching the right hand off for your support and forwards. As we lift the upper body but stay in our twist, left hand comes back. Nice. Taking a breath in. Breathing out, flipping to the other side. So right foot pivots down to the ground. Hands come to the ribs as they spiral over to the right. Arms reach wide. Warrior two. Woohoo! Shifting stuff around here. Keeping the front knee bent over the front ankle. Back leg nice and long. Feel the earth beneath you. Taking a breath in. And out. And then stepping the back foot to meet the front foot. Wiggling it out as we reach the hands to the sky. And then folding forwards. Chin towards the chest, rolling down. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale, releasing fingertips to the earth. Step the left leg back. So set this up first. Take your time, nice wide stance. Bending the knees, rooting down to rise up. High lunge. Nice, one more breath before floating the left hand down. Right hand to the ribs, spiraling open and reaching for the sky. Really enjoy this twist. Taking a breath in and a breath out, reaching the left hand forwards. Right hand back, upper body lifts, nice. Lots of stuff going on here, so keep your nice lovely deep breaths. And then flip it and reverse it. Pivoting the back foot to the ground. Ribs spiral over to the left. Coming to our warrior two. Nice. Find that space between the shoulders and the earlobes. Send energy through the fingertips. Taking a nice breath in. And breathing out. Stepping the back foot to meet the front foot. Reaching for the sky. Palms float high. And then curling the chin to the chest, we roll back down into our fold. Inhale to lift up halfway. Exhale to release. And finding our standing one-legged forward fold again. So taking whatever support you might want to. But also we have the option here to lift. I'm going to start with our right leg back. So we can lift our left foot onto a brick or a book, whatever we have. So if we have our two bricks, we can lift off like this. That'll be nice and helpful. So what we're going to do is lift the right leg back. If you don't have the brick under your left foot, don't worry. That might be for today or another day entirely. And then if we can, without touching the ground, but touch if we need to, reaching the right leg forwards and up towards the sky. Nice. Shifting back. Again, we can touch the ground if we want to. Or can we channel in as much as we can to the stability we found. Lifting nice and slowly without rushing into anything. There's absolutely no rush here. Feel each movement that we're making. Notice that proprioception, that awareness of everything that's moving and working in the body. Doing this one more time, lifting up and back. And if we come to the wall for support or a chair, countertop, that's awesome. If we're wobbling all over the place, that again is awesome. There's so much going on here. So remember to have a little fun with it. Nice, then coming down to the ground, just wiggling the hips from side to side and coming onto the other side. So if we have the brick underneath the right foot, then pop that there As we take the weight over to the right, and really feel this first before lifting the left leg back. And then rising, feeling the support to lift up. Imagine we have the roots of a tree shooting through the sole of our foot. And if we are wobbling lots here and are using support, then that's really, really great, because that means that we are listening to our body. We're listening to what feels good for us. And maybe one day, maybe we won't need as much support all the time, and that'll feel awesome. So just be exactly where you are. Whenever you finish 3 times, coming back to step both feet into our mountain pose. Taking our support to one side for now, folding forwards and stepping both feet back, lifting the hips high, downward facing dog. And just take a nice breath in, exhale out the mouth, let go of anything that might have built up then. We can often get quite tense without even realizing when we're balancing, so taking a nice, one more breath in. Nice. And if we want to come to a child's pose for a couple of breaths, then we can do. Choose your own adventure. And then everybody meeting in downward facing dog. We're going to walk, step or hop the feet forwards, coming into a fold. Inhaling to lift up halfway. Exhaling to release, rooting down to rise, sending the sitting bones straight back into our chair pose. Hands together at the heart or up towards the sky, yogi's choice. Listen to what feels good. And this time, instead of shifting our weight from side to side, we're going to rock our way into our heels and lift our toes off slightly, just a little bit. And then rock our way into our toes, lift our heels off. Breathing. One more time. Lifting the toes. And then lifting the heels. Now glide once more. Coming all the way back. And all the way forwards. Maybe we sit down a little lower. Releasing both heels to the earth. As we step our right leg back, nice wide on a diagonal, toes turning out, hands to the ribs as they spiral over to the right, finding our warrior 2. Breathing in, breathing out, taking your support, if you have it, just in front of the left leg. And I'd recommend to start on the highest available setting. And then walking our right foot in slightly, taking our weight over to our left leg. Sending our left hand down towards our brick, right hand to the hip space as we open the hips to the right side. Nice, and maybe the legs down here, and that is cool, we can just work with this. Maybe we're coming to lots of support, and again, that's great. And we're going to come to find a half moon pose. But there is so much going on here. Can we just take all of the judgment away and simply enjoy this feeling that we're feeling here? Maybe the right hand reaches for the sky. And if we've been practicing a while longer, this is obviously an all abilities class. So if we have any advanced yogis out there, we might like to explore bending the right elbow and the right knee towards each other and then lifting away. Nice. Make sure to breathe as you do this. And if you don't have a brick under the left hand, that's fine. You can come down to the earth or hover there. Lovely, finding one more breath. And then stepping the right foot down and coming to a mountain pose. Oof, just shaking everything out. Just really taking all of the tension away from the spine, moving like a really funky dance. Yeah, awesome. And we are going to do the same thing on the other side. So taking a breath in and a breath out. Stepping the left leg back, turning the toes out as we spiral back into our warrior two. Really find this gorgeous sturdy foundation first. Taking your support onto the opposite side. And then in your own time, start to just shift the weight into the right leg. In fact, I'll turn this way, I don't want my back to you. And start to rotate or radiate the hips towards the side of the room. Remember, some days you might feel like, yeah, this is much easier for me today, and sometimes you just won't be able to balance at all. I definitely have them days. My toes go to lift off and I'm like, nope, not happening today. So just really enjoy where you are. Maybe we lift the left hand for the sky. And maybe we bend the knee towards the elbow and reach away. Doing this 3 times if this option is for us one day. Then coming all the way back to our half moon, taking a lovely breath in. And as we breathe out, stepping back and lifting into your mountain pose. Oh, shaking it out. Well done, everyone. Really getting the blood flowing in the opposite direction as we shake out the hands, the wrists, the legs, the ankles, the feet. Nice, shaking everything even more. Do a little dance if we want to. Find one more breath. And then release. Find a nice mountain pose. Checking out the feet. Bringing them to hips distance apart. Toes tracking forwards. And then sending the right arm down the right leg. Nice and gentle, reaching the left hand up the side body and towards the sky. And taking our gaze down towards the right side. Mindful that we aren't sinking the hips over, rather feeling this length in the side body where the ribs are. And then floating to center and over to the left. Nice, really feel yourself as you lift. Breathing in, take your gaze over to the left as you breathe out. And slowly coming back, chin towards the chest, coming down, forward fold. Hook an opposite hand to opposite elbow and just swaying softly from side to side. Nice. Planting the palms, stepping both feet back, joining in a downward facing dog. If you want to come to child's pose straight away, that is also really cool. So listen if that's what you want to choose. If we're in down dog, we'll just spend 3 breaths here. Be mindful to keep this bend in the knees. And we can find movement if we want to. If we want to rock the hips around, pedal the heels, then do so. Whenever we're ready, after our 3 breaths, we'll slowly meet everyone in a child's pose. Taking the knees wide, hips down to the heels, forehead down towards the ground. Take what support you need. Really invite this soft release. Take all of the tension out of this posture. And find one more breath here. If you're like me, you might feel like you want to sleep here forever and not move. And then whenever you're ready though, we'll plant through the palms and slowly lift up into our all fours. Walking the right knee behind the right hand. And then walking the right foot over towards the left hand. So we're finding this bend in the right knee. I'm coming to explore either pigeon pose or a pigeon variation. So the variation is like this thunderbolt or cheerleader legs, where we sit on the right hip and keep this crisscross in the legs, nice generous bend. Then we'll fold over the right leg and release down as much as feels comfortable. And then finding our pigeon, keeping the left leg back nice and long. Not sitting down and collapsing here, but keeping the pelvis nice and steady and stable. And if we want some support underneath here, if we feel like we're hanging, if there's any discomfort, then we can take what we need. And through time we can walk our right foot a little bit further forwards, but really just listen to your body. It's more important about feeling comfortable in your own space. Maybe we can come down onto the forearms, but rather than collapsing here, be mindful of keeping this length and integrity in the spine. This is a really lovely opener for the glute and hip space, so make it work for you. Wherever we are, finding one more breath before slowly lifting back up, making your way to all fours. Left knee behind the left wrist, and then walking the left foot over towards the right, finding our variation wherever we are on this side. So either the cheerleader, thunderbolt legs, or pigeon pose. And notice where your attention goes here as we start to slow things down a bit. Does it already jump off the mat into what you're doing for the rest of your day? What you're having for breakfast, lunch or dinner? So if it has, that's okay, but can we bring it back to this space? Remember to tune in to what's happening now in this moment. Listening to the sound or the feeling of our breath. And on your next exhale, lift out and come back to a seat. Make your way there. If you want to lift your hips up onto some support, then I invite you to do so. We are going to find a Baddha Konasana, so a bound angle pose. So bring in the feet together, jump into the front of our support, so our pelvis is nice and in alignment with the spine. Feet together, knees out wide. And notice how the feet, how close they are to your pubic bone. You might feel more comfortable to find a little bit more space here, so if it does, awesome, listen to that. And then taking hold of the legs or the ankles or the feet, wherever feels great, as we keep lengthening tall, we'll start to slowly fold forwards. I like to think of our stomach down towards our heels, so we can keep this long line from our tailbone to the crown of our head. And closing the eyes here. Feeling what you feel. Coming to find one more breath, mindful that we aren't muscling into this, but keeping the hands soft, and then lifting our way back up, bringing the knees together and sending ourselves off our support, taking the feet nice and wide and rolling the right thigh out, left thigh in, finding windscreen wipers. We can take these a little bit slower if we'd like to, as we come from side to side. It's one more time to each way. And then as we come back, we'll lengthen both legs out long, keeping this nice tall spine. If we want to lift onto some support, again we can do. But finding that forward fold that we did at the start of our practice. So knees bend slightly or generously, toes lift towards the face. And as we reach tall, we'll fold forward, stomach down towards the thighs. And notice here that we might have a little bit more space to explore than we first did in our forward fold. So wherever we are, just notice all of the little things. If we've done this pose 100 times, what can we find new here? One more breath. Lifting slowly. Reaching the arms forwards, curling the chin to the chest, nice and slow, real slow-mo. Stop halfway down. And then all the way down, nice. And then we get to the earth, hug both knees in, and take them nice and wide towards the armpits. So kicking the feet up towards the sky, finding our happy baby pose. Hands might rest on the hamstrings, the calves, the back of the legs somewhere, maybe the outer edges of the ankles, making sure we aren't rocking our tailbone and glutes off the ground, really keeping them rooted as we just rock gently from side to side. Have a little bit of fun here. It might feel good to lengthen one leg or both legs. Send some love and appreciation to all of the spaces in our body that have been amazing for us today, as they always are. Finding 2 more breaths here. And lengthening the legs, bringing them down to the ground as we come to rest the arms in our final and most precious posture, Shavasana. Make yourself comfy here with as little fuss as possible. Come to find your comfortable space on your mat, and then closing down the eyes as we take a breath in and a breath out. Just simply let the breath come and go. Take all of the effort out of this and surrender to the ground that supported you so well. Really allow yourself to melt down into whatever is beneath you. Take all of the tension, the fear, the judgment out of where we are in this space. Just can we simply focus on each moment unfolding one by one? Perhaps we tune in to the sounds around us now. the taste in our mouth, what we can smell, what we can or can't see. And notice how it feels for the parts of our body that are touching the earth. Perhaps the floor is cold on the back of your hands or underneath your heels. Just become completely aware of this moment. You can stay here for a while longer if you like. And if we have to boogie, we'll start to wake up the fingers and the toes, the wrists, the ankles. And the rest of the body in any way that feels good. Making our way in our own time onto our right side. You can keep the eyes closed this entire time if we'd like to, as we come to find a seat. Resting the hands comfortably wherever they lie or floating the palms together at the heart in gratitude for this moment. I thank you with all my heart for joining me for this practice today. From my heart to each and every one of yours, Namaste.